Hi everyone, I am a trainer for Oracle Application Development Framework. So coming to the profile of the trainer, that is myself. So I'm into this profession, like I'm into IT technology, IT industry for almost 15 plus years. I have huge development experience and training experience as well. So I have 15 plus years of development experience and 10 plus years of training experience. So when we talk about the scope of the demo, so when I'm first and foremost thing, when we are giving demo, I just understand the requirement of the participant and the background of the participant. That is background in the sense his career background, uh, based on from which technology he is coming through, and what is whatever what knowledge he is having currently, and how based on after grasping all these things, based on that I can proceed my training. So I'll be gathering all the information about the participant, like what all technologies he know and what is his expectations on the training, and how fast he what is the duration of the time, that is in how much duration he want to finish the training, and what is his current situation to attend the training. So see, some participants, they'll be working in the company, and they'll be assigned to a project which is in ADF, which is the ADF project, and they have to develop the ADF project. So in such a situation, so I'll arrange the schedule in such a manner that he'll, by the time the project is started and by the time he need to contribute to the project, his training is completed and he's ready to contribute to the project. So if someone is attending the interviews, if someone want to attend the interviews, and before attending they want to complete this course, so based on their urgency, based on the time, how much before they want to complete the project, complete the training, so based on that I'll plan the schedule and I'll complete the training accordingly. The training duration will be 28 hours, but based on the topics, if it is extended also, I'll extend and make sure that all the concepts are covered and all the concepts are understood to the participant. So as part of the training, I'll whatever content I'll be covering, so that all I'll walk through to the participant in the demo, and I'll be also telling him the exact in whatever procedure I used to follow while training. So it may be the go the way I'll follow how to train while training. So that I'll be explaining him in the scope of the demo. So as part of the course content, so I'll be covering all these topics in the training. So introduction, environment setup, exploring JDeveloper. So we'll have a detailed look of the syllabus. Okay. So as part of the introduction, so I'll be covering about the Fusion middleware introduction. What is Fusion middleware and how ADF is related to the Fusion middleware. So ADF is one part of the Fusion middleware. So ADF uses the MVC architecture. Okay, so what is the how the MVC architecture is implemented in ADF? So that I'll be covering, and what is the ADF architecture, life cycle, and how we can use JDeveloper to build the ADF applications. So that I'll be covering in the introduction. So when in the next topic, so I'll be helping you to set up the entire environment in the participants' local system. So initially, I'll provide all the dumps, and I'll make sure that the configuration is set up in the participants' local environment. So in the next topic, so I'll be covering you the JDeveloper features. So how exactly the IDE JDeveloper is what features JDeveloper is having, and how exactly it is helpful in developing the ADF applications. Then I'll be covering the ADF business components as since ADF business components are the first and foremost thing that we have to develop while developing the application. So first we'll start with the ADF business components. So then I'll cover in detail about all the business components. So these are all the entity objects, associations, view objects, view links, view criteria, the application module. These are all business components. So these all I'll be covering in detail in the further sessions. So then I'll also cover some of the topics which can be done programmatically and which can be done declaratively. In ADF, most of the tasks in ADF application can be developed declaratively, but there are few topics that can be done programmatically. So that I'll be covering in the programmatical topic. So then coming to the UI, so I'll be covering what all components are available to develop the page. Okay, we have page, we have components, we have layout components, and we have reusability. Like these are all the components which are useful to develop the applications in the ADF. So when we are developing, we also need to define validations in ADF. So that validations can be at two levels, at the model level and at the UI level. So I'll be covering both these validations, both type of these validations. And we can also configure security in the ADF. So that I'll be covering. So then finally, how to deploy the application and how to debug the application using the logs, and how to use the SOAP and REST services, like how to configure SOAP and REST services into our application, and how we can make use of the methods which are there in the web services. So that I'll be covering as the final topic. Okay. So what is my style is, see, I just don't go with the explanation of the PPT. So for each and every topic, so I have different PPTs like this. See, this entire 21 PPTs. So these include all the PPTs, like all the topics, all the topics content. Okay. So when you look at the PPT like this, see here. So I'll be providing each and every minute information in my PPTs. That is, when we are creating, suppose when we are creating the view object business component, so what all steps you need to follow. So for every step, I'll be providing you the screenshot in the PPT. And at the same time, after completing the explanation, going through the PPT, I'll do the same thing in my JDeveloper and show how exactly that this can be done practically. So first, if you take the topic of the creation of the view object, so initially you have to select the view object and then provide the database connection, okay, and give the package name and view object name, and select this is for custom query based. So there are two types of view objects. One is query based and the other one is entity based. So if it is query based, we have to select the query option. See, for what all options you need to, what all actions you need to perform. So those all actions I'll be pointing out like this with the arrow symbols, and I'll be by looking at the screen, you'll come to know what all you need to do in that screen or in that wizard. So in ADF language, we'll say it is wizard. So here, see, you need to provide the package name, you need to provide the view object name, and you have to select this option, and then you can click the next button. So when it comes to the next topic, see, these are there are creation in the creation of the view object. We have lot many steps. So for every step, I'll be providing the details like this. So what exactly you need to do in that screen, or where you have to focus, on which on which point you have to focus. So those all I'll be mentioning it in the with the arrow and with the rectangle boxes like this. And each and every minute, see, after clicking this button, this pop-up will appear. So that pop-up also I'll provide in my PPT. So what like when you are about to create any task, okay, when you are about to develop any task, so what all through what all steps you navigate. So for all the steps, I'll be providing you each and every screen in the PPT. So that by after completion of the training, if you just go through the PPT, you can just recollect the entire topic in just a few minutes. Okay. So we have when we are creating the view object, you have to click on the query, give the select statement, and if you can test it as well. Before going forward, you can test whether the query which you have written is valid or not. Then you can click next, and you can just ignore all this by just keep on clicking next for all these steps. Then here in this step, in the last step, you can give the module module package name and module name, and click on finish. Click on next and finish. Okay. So then you can test the Vivo like this in the in the Oracle ADF model tester. Okay. So when I explain you the first initially I'll explain how I have explained just now by walking through the PPT. Then later on, once I complete the explanation of any topic in the PPT, so the next moment I'll shift to my JDeveloper, and I'll practically will do whatever steps I explained in the PPT. I'll practically develop in the JDeveloper and explain you, so that when you uh, listen my explanation by walking through the PPT, you'll almost get more than half of the information. And then after that, if I show you practically in my JDeveloper, then you will be getting complete information, and you don't be having any queries later on. Okay. So just now you have seen how I explained in the PPT, right? So now after explaining in the PPT, what I'll do is I'll do the same steps. I'll follow the same steps and develop the view object in the JDeveloper. Okay. So this is in the new gallery. We have selected ADF business components and view object, right? So here I can go to the from gallery. So here we'll get the new gallery screen. So now we can select ADF business component and view object. Okay. Okay. So So after this, since I already have the DB connection, it is not prompting me to select the connection. So if I don't have the DB connection before I have started creating this view object, then it will prompt for the connection. So then the view, the package name for the view object and the view object name and the data source selection. Okay. So here I'll go with this package only, and here I can give temp vivo since it is for our demo purpose. So I can select this and next. So now here I can give my query. And if I want, I can test the screen. Okay, query executed successfully. So I can click next. See, if you observe what all screens I provided in the PPT, we are going through the same steps, right? So I can just click on next for all these. And here package name. So if while I'm explaining the PPT, if you have any minor questions, like if some gap is there, also that is fulfilled when you see the same thing doing practically. Okay. Next, finish. So the same thing we have here. Okay. Selected statement. I selected the statement. Then clicked on everything. So I have given the package. Clicked on next. And now to get this screen and test whether our Vivo is working perfectly or not. See, now our Vivo is created. So to go to the application model tester, I have to right click on the application model and click on run. Okay. This takes a few minutes. Here there's a small issue. So like this, the application model tester is it can be opened and we can test our Vivo. So in the same way, so for every topic, I'll be explaining in the PPT as well and doing the same thing in the JDeveloper and showing it practically, so that each and every topic will be very clearly understood to the participant. Okay. Yeah, it has opened. Okay. This is our ADF model tester. Okay. So this is our ADF model tester. See, the Vivo which we have just now created is temp1. Okay. So if I double click it, okay, my Vivo will be open for me. So here I can test whether the data which is available in the tables is correct or not, or if any junk data is there. Okay. So before actually proceeding to the building of the application, we can test whether the data which is there in the underlying tables is correct or not. Okay. See, when we are able to see all the data, then it means that the data is valid and correct. Okay. So there is no junk data in the tables. So if you find any junk data, we can correct it here itself. So like this, whatever data is mismatching or if any errors are there in the data, you can pretty much at the very early stage of the development, you can rectify it and you can start developing later on. Okay. So that is the major advantage of this ADF model tester. Okay. So coming to the UI part, See, for every topic, wherever is necessary, I'm having the use cases to explain you, explain the topic in a very uh, clear and in a very easy manner. See, suppose this is the task flow. So in the task flow, we can make use of all these activities in building the task flow. So I have a use case including all these activities to including all these activities, so that when we are executing the use case, so I'll be covering you the usage of each and every activity, so that after completing the explanation of the use case and execution of the use case, it will be clear for you to understand the activities of all these very clearly in just one with just one use case. Okay, so in the same way, for every topic for that needs more explanation or that needs a practical awareness to the student, so those for all those topics, I'll be having the use cases and I'll be explaining you the use cases, explaining the topic along with the use cases, so that the topic will be completely clear and completely thoroughly understood by the student. Okay, so this is the style of my teaching. So when we come back to our PPT, so these are all the topics that I'll be covering in the course. So this includes each and every topic that is needed for the ADF developer. So before in the course, the other topics also which will be covered along the ADF will be Java, HTML, and CSS. So to some extent, I'll be covering these technologies as well. Okay, so we come across these technologies, and as in when it is the as far as it needed for the ADF course. So to that extent, I'll be covering these topics as well. So coming to the additional resources and all the recording, all the sessions, all my training sessions will be recorded, and the recordings will be provided to the student, and even the workspace. The workspace means while I'm explaining you the project which I build in my JDeveloper, so even that project also I'll be sharing with the student. So I'll be explaining you briefly about the projects which I have done and which is developed on ADF. So the lab setup, see, ADF requires don't require much of the system configuration. So the if it is it is better to have the RAM size more. That's it. So hard disk, if it is 500 GB also, it is fine. Okay, even Windows, if it is 7, also it is fine. But if it is if the configuration is if the operating system is above 7, it is well and good. But if it is Windows 7 also, no issues in that. Okay, but memory, if it is more, the JDeveloper will open quickly and we can practice quickly. Okay, so coming to the mock interviews, so in my company where I worked, so I have experience in conducting the interviews as well. So I can conduct a mock interview in the same way how I conducted in my company, and I can give a illustration that I can give a illusion that as if you are attending the interview, and and after attending the interview you can just analyze the gap which you have, and you can fulfill that gap, and get ready for the interviews. So coming to the certifications, so there is one certification that is provided by the Oracle. So we after completion of the course, the certification that can be that can be taken by the student is Oracle Application Development Suite 11G Certification Implementation Specialist. Okay, so this is issued by Oracle University. So even I can guide you how you can how you can prepare for the certification and how you can achieve the certification. Hope you have enjoyed the demo session, and hope it covered most of the information, and it answered most of your queries on ADF training. Thank you.